All right, so welcome to today's webinar. Today we're going to be talking about Penn State's Master of Public Policy degree program, which you're going to frequently hear us refer to as the MPP program or MPP degree. I'm Whitney Sheridan. I'm with the School of Public Policy at Penn State. I'm the Director of Communications. I'll be moderating today's program along with our guest presenters. We have Stephen Maslowski. He's our Enrollment and Advising Manager. Hi, Stephen.
Hello, everyone. Hope you're all doing well today.
Thanks so much for being here, Stephen. Also with us is Caitlin Reber. Caitlin has been one of our integrated undergraduate graduate degree students. She'll be a full-time MPP student as of this summer. And we're going to be talking more about the accelerated IAG program in a few moments. And we're going to hear from Caitlin all about her experience. Thanks for joining us, Caitlin, and congrats on your graduation.
Thank you. Hi, everyone.
Also with us, we have our Director of Professional Development and Student Engagement, Catherine Baumgardner. Catherine is also an Associate Teaching Professor. Thanks so much for joining us, Catherine.
Thank you. It's great to be here. Welcome, everyone.
So we're so excited to have everybody, all of our attendees for joining us today, and of course our panelists. Before I turn things over to them to get start talking about the MPP program, I want to let everybody know that you have the opportunity to ask questions in the chat window. Just press that Q&A button in the bottom or top window of the Zoom screen, and we'll get to your questions at the end of today's session. So we really want to encourage you to do that. You can also email us anytime. Our email address is publicpolicy@psu.edu, and you can find a lot of information on our website as well, which is publicpolicy.psu.edu. Now, I want to talk to you a little bit about what we're going to be discussing today. We're going to talk about the overview of the MPP program. We're going to talk about who's suited for the program. We will discuss curriculum and the skills you're going to gain. We're going to talk about career options and income expectations for grads. And we're going to talk about some of the unique support that the program provides to our students. We're going to talk to Catherine about that specifically, and we'll break down the application process and the requirements. We're going to talk about life at Penn State, and I know that Caitlin has some stuff that she wants to weigh in on about that, and of course we'll take your questions that we're going to encourage you once again to ask throughout the presentation. But first, before we start explaining the program, I think we should provide an update on the university's plans for instruction right now. So Stephen, can you tell us about the current status of what's happening right now?
Absolutely, Whitney. So at the moment, these are the things that we know currently regarding how the current pandemic is impacting the university. At the moment, all summer instruction has been moved remotely, just like spring semester was. The university plans on making a decision regarding fall semester by June 15th. The options at the moment are for instruction to continue normally, that students are on campus and everything is operating as normal. Another option is for the semester to start remotely, with possibility down the road for students and staff to return. And then also there is the possibility that the semester is done remotely as well. So we are expecting new information by June 15th from university leadership. And please visit the website that is listed on this slide for all the up-to-date information from the university regarding the current pandemic.
Yeah, that's right, Stephen. And you know, that's updated constantly through the university. We also have a link to that on our website as well. So you can find that at publicpolicy.psu.edu. If you go to our website, there's a link to that too. So thanks, Stephen. So we're here really to talk about the Master of Public Policy or MPP degree. Stephen, tell us exactly what is the Master of Public Policy degree program? Who is this program suited for? Who should apply?
So a Master of Public Policy degree, the way that we have it set up is a 2-year professional master's degree that is based on our University Park campus. Students that should be looking and considering a Master of Public Policy degree are those that have a passion for public service, civil service. I like to also say it's a great degree for students that are interested in developing and impacting change. Public policy impacts everything that we do on a day-to-day basis and in our lives, and especially during the current situation. And so if those things kind of align with what your interests are, this would be a great degree for you to consider.
Awesome. So I really would like to bring Caitlin, our MPP student, into the discussion right now. Caitlin, why an MPP? What was the MPP program? What drew you to it?
So for me, I think the flexibility of an MPP degree was really appealing. I mean, obviously I had a passion for public policy, and like Steven said, I think what drew me to this type of degree was that I wanted to make widespread change. I was kind of between law school and this, but learning how flexible the degree is, like you can do so many things with it. And that's the great thing about it. With the policy classes, you get a really good background in public policy, and then you specialize in whatever else. So you get a good background in that too. So like I majored in criminology for my undergrad, but I think I really do have a passion for social activism and social policy. So what's nice about an MPP degree is it kind of allows me the opportunity to explore both of those.
Great. And we're going to hear more about your plans and what you're doing this summer in a little bit. So stay tuned for that. Steven, tell us more about the program, the structure, what it provides.
So the Master Public Policy degree that we have here at Penn State provides students with the hard and soft skills that are necessary for them to go out and become policy analysts. So you will get a couple different types of classes and assistant from us within the program. So we have the core curriculum, which most students will complete the majority of during their first year. You have the applied capstone experience, which will be done in your final semester, and Catherine will talk a little bit more about that later on in the presentation. We have the internships, which usually occur for the majority of our students in between years 1 and years 2. And then also we have some career placement options both through our school and through the College of Liberal Arts to help students. The degree is a 43 credit master's degree, 42 for working professionals who are able to apply for an internship waiver. And it's going to give you the skills necessary to go out and analyze large social data, how policies implemented and impacted on a regular basis. That's the basis and the overview of the MPP.
Great. Talk to us a little bit about the specialization. This is one of my favorite things that we really get to promote about the program, especially what makes our Penn State MPP program unique. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. So as we were talking about with the curriculum, most students will come in and they will do the core curriculum in year 1. Year 2 is where your flexibility comes in for choosing and defining a specialization. So the way that the curriculum's set up is students are able to do 4 specialization electives as part of their MPP degree. And what we look for in those specialization electives is for students to find something that they're passionate about, and that we can find 4 courses that logically make up a sequence that would form a specialization. We currently have the specializations that you can see on the screen are already pre-designed with a lot of different courses that students can choose from to supplement the core curriculum of the MPP. But if there's something that you're interested in that's not showing up on there, it's very easy to create your own specialization. And this is where you would work with myself and our assistant director to locate different courses that would form up that 4-course specialization. So there's a lot of options for you to pursue your passion and learn more about a specific area while also getting the necessary skills to be a policy analyst.
So one of the things that I know, we've done a few of these different webinars, and one of the things that we've talked about before, and Caitlin, I know you have a member of your cohort who I think is a history undergraduate major or anthropology or something. So you can basically come from many different backgrounds with undergraduate degrees and apply that to the MPP, which makes the MPP program really something that's unique. It's about being passionate about something and wanting to affect change. Isn't that right, Stephen?
Absolutely. Yes.
And I think, Caitlin, you're a perfect example of that. I know your undergraduate degree is in criminology, but you're definitely someone has a lot of passion about what you want to pursue. So, right.
It's funny because, I love criminal justice, and the criminal justice system I think is all really interesting, but there's a lot that I'm passionate about. So that's why this degree is great.
Great. Okay. So Stephen, tell us about something that we have for Penn State undergraduate students like Caitlin.
Yeah, so if you are currently a Penn State undergraduate student and you are interested in the public policy program, we have a few options that are available for students to do an accelerated integrated undergraduate to graduate option, which we'll say is an IUG going forward. And what this does is it allows students to get the MPP degree like Caitlin in just an additional year out of their undergrad. So with the current programs that we have approval with at Penn State to do an IUG are criminology, the BS option, the BS in sociology, and the BA in political science. So if you are currently in one of those programs or considering one of those programs, this is an option that you can pursue. And how it works is that we are able to count 4 courses between the 2 different degrees. So some of the classes will count towards your specializations. Some of our classes can potentially count down towards your undergrad, depending on which IUG program you are admitted into. And so it builds on the knowledge that you get in your undergraduate major. It's going to save you time and money because instead of doing 2 years for a master's degree, you're only going to have to do 1. And the nice thing about that year that you are finishing both your undergrad and starting the MPP is that you're only being charged undergraduate tuition. And so you essentially get an entire year of master's curriculum done during your senior year of undergrad, and you're only paying 1 year of graduate tuition for a 2-year professional master's degree. For applying and considering this program, you're going to want to talk to your undergraduate academic advisor. If you are going into your junior year, it would be great to set up a meeting with us to kind of go into detail about how scheduling would work. The earlier you can start talking to your undergrad advisor and myself about your interest in an IUG, the better, because it allows us to help you with your course planning so that that year of dual enrollment is as smooth as possible.
And we have more information about this on our website as well, because there are other ways that you can begin your MPP early as a senior that are outside of the accelerated integrated undergraduate graduate degree programs that we've specifically designed with departments. So take a look at our website, right, Stephen, and you can find out more information there. And also contact Stephen as well. He's the one who checks that email, publicpolicy@psu.edu, very, very frequently, and he'll get back to you and answer any questions you may have. And again, you can put those in that chat window as well, and we'll answer those too. But I want to ask Caitlin, since you have experience directly with the IUG, tell us a little bit about balancing your undergraduate studies as a criminology BS student and also taking the MPP classes. What was that like? What was the workload like?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. The IAG program, the first year when you're finishing your undergrad and starting the grad classes, it's a little more rigorous than I was used to, at least just with my whole undergrad career, but it was still manageable. So it wasn't terrible. It was just more work than I was used to. That's just because grad classes are just different. So starting the policy classes, I wasn't used to having like once a week, 3-hour classes at night, etc. But it's also, for me, I looked at it as a good way to ease into being a full-time grad student because I started with only a couple, and that allowed me to kind of get used to them, get used to the format, and also get to know the other people in my cohort. And luckily, just the way my schedule worked out and just with the classes I had already taken, I only had a few undergraduate classes left for the entirety of my senior year. So it worked out pretty well.
It sounds like having that existing support system that you had built throughout your undergraduate career at Penn State really helped you make that transition too.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, great. So I really, one of the things we've been talking about is how the Master of Public Policy program is unique, is that it's a professional degree. And I want to bring Catherine into the discussion because she's our Director of Professional Development and Student Engagement. Catherine, can you talk a little bit about the employment opportunities that are available for MPP grads?
Sure, Whitney, I'd be happy to do that. Public policy is something that is in really high demand, especially now as you think about what's happening with COVID and the way we're responding to at the state and the federal and the local level with how we manage our approach to that process. And all of that is underpinned in some way by public policy and the way in which we think about how we approach managing and leading in our organizations. So there's a tremendous amount of value placed on employers in a lot of different sectors around the whole idea of public policy. So it doesn't just have to be government. It could be not-for-profit organizations. There's lobbying and consulting firms. There's think tanks that value the understanding of public policy, as well as private sector companies. And you saw earlier some of the different sectors of that public policy touches. So things like healthcare. What's unique about a public policy degree is it's not only about how do I manage an organization, but it's really about how do I influence building the infrastructure around the way an organization may respond or the way a society may respond.
Oh, that's really
Lots of
interesting.
opportunities.
And we're going to talk about income in just a second. But first, I want to ask Caitlin, since you're in this again, I'm going to put you in the hot seat. What are your career aspirations right now? I know I'm sure they might change over the next year. So what are you thinking?
I think right now I'm thinking more like the nonprofit advocacy route. I juggled with a lot of different career options because, again, this degree is so flexible. There's so many things that you can do. But I've definitely thought about like going maybe government, foreign service. But I think right now, because my internship is with a nonprofit, I'm thinking that route.
Great. And we're going to get to the internships in just a moment as well. Catherine, is an MPP degree worth it? You know, people are putting out the dollars to invest in this degree. Will this boost their earning power? What does the earning power look like?
Well, according to the Census Bureau, the MPP grads are in high enough demand now that you can earn more. And they say about $19,000 more than counterparts with just a bachelor's degree in public policy or some related field. The ranges that are published now are anywhere between $40,000 and $125,000. And while that feels like a very broad range, it's really very specific to what sector you decide to go into. You want to go into the not-for-profit world, or do you want to go into the for-profit world? And there are lots, there's just a broad range of opportunity across all of those. But the good news is that there is great earning potential, and I suspect that with such an interest, even more so now in public policy with everything going on around us, that demand will only continue to increase as well as those ranges.
And I want to point out that we have a lot of this information on our website as well. If you go to look under graduate programs or undergraduate programs, both of those have details on career information. So just check out that those sections under our website, and you'll find links to all of this data there as well. So check that out if you want more information on that. And again, email us as well, and we'll be happy to answer any questions that you might have. So we mentioned that the MPP program is unique in that it's a professional degree, but one thing that I feel that's unique about our program in particular is that we provide a lot of support that you might not see with a lot of other graduate programs. So I'm going to talk to Catherine here about this because we are a new program and we've been building a lot of the support systems that we're providing. Catherine, tell us about the internship component of the program and why it's important.
Well, and to Whitney's point, the idea of the program is that we help you to be job ready when you leave the program. So you're not someone leaving this program and needing to learn what to do. And so we use the internship process to really help us to do that. So the internship, as Whitney mentioned, happens typically between the first and second year. And we work very carefully to help you find the right fit for you. The students do find the internships, but we support that whole process from resume development to cover letter support to interviewing practice. And in this environment with so much moving to virtual, we've also created virtual support as well. And we'll do everything from helping you to set up your environment within which you are interviewing or working to how to best prepare for an interview to put your best foot forward. We want to make sure that you know how to differentiate yourself. The internship aspect then also gives you the opportunity to get practical experience. So what you're doing in the internship is essentially applying what you've learned and learning how does the theory play out in practice. And so part of that process is developing goals and objectives with the preceptor on site. Keeping a log weekly of what you're learning, what you're observing, what's worked and what hasn't worked for you. And then coupled with that preceptor, you also have my support. And so I actually work very close. I will be working closely with the internships throughout the summer to see what's working, what's not working, and also working with the preceptor to make sure you're getting the best experience that you can. So at the end of that process, you learn what?
Sorry, things have been a little different at this point in time, where you've been working very closely with our students to even redesign what some of the internships have been looking like, correct?
Exactly. The internships that have been placed so far, the majority of our students were all supposed to be in another location. And the good news is we were able to preserve those internships as remote internships. And so working with the students and then ultimately we'll be working with the organizations to make sure that the experience is still as rich. And I think it gives us a unique opportunity. How many times do we have to deal with something so traumatic in our environment? And I think it teaches us how to be resilient and teaches us to be intentional as professionals.
So one of the things that when Stephen was talking about how the program is broken down, the different components, tell us how the internship and the capstone complement each other.
Sure. The internship is a bit of a stepping stone. It's the kind of the first dip into the professional world with these newfound skills in the first year of the graduate experience. And so that's a 1-credit course and really kind of follows the opportunity to get exposed to an organization. The capstone experience goes a bit deeper. The capstone experience can look a couple of different ways. It can be actually with the organization that you interned in. So let's say, for example, you started a project that needed more development than beyond a summer. You could actually take that project and further develop it for the organization as a capstone. Or you could end up working with a team of peers within the program for select organizations that want to have a group of people come in and do some consultative work, if you will. Gather data, analyze a problem, make recommendations in terms of what they should do. So the two of them plug together very nicely. So I think of the internship as the kind of the early experience, and then the capstone being sort of the full opportunity to apply what you've learned over the 2 years.
So Caitlin, what is your internship and what will you be doing?
So my internship I'll be working with RAIN, which is the largest anti-sexual violence organization in the country. I'll specifically be working with their National Speakers Bureau, which they connect with survivors of sexual violence, and they help share their stories to educate the public. And I think I was interested in this internship specifically and this organization because first, it's something that I'm really passionate about. I took some undergrad classes along these lines of this topic, and I also really wanted to see the advocacy and education side of public policy because the organization does public policy work, but the internship I was offered was more advocacy and education based, which I'm very excited about because obviously that's something I'm interested in pursuing. So doing this internship will help me see if I like it or not. But a lot of my work with them will be community outreach, corresponding with their members and creating content for their newsletter and stuff like that. So.
Great. Well, we can't wait to hear how that goes. I know you start in just a couple of weeks, so good luck.
Thank you.
And I hope it's everything that you're excited about. So I think it's going to be great for you. So you've heard a lot about the program. Stephen, How do people apply? What do they need to do?
So the application process is pretty straightforward and pretty simple. You can apply either through our website, but there is an apply button which will take you to the graduate school's general application, or you can just go to gradschool.psu.edu and start the general application. So you'll apply directly to Penn State's graduate school. There's general information that's required as part of the application. We do look for students to have around a minimum 3.0 GPA. If it's slightly below that, don't be discouraged. We do encourage you to reach out and talk to me about, the application process and if this program could potentially be a fit for you. So we look at your undergraduate transcripts in depth. We require 2 letters of recommendation. One of them should be from a faculty member, but they both do not have to be from faculty. You can have an internship coordinator or supervisor or mentor write your second letter. The biggest key and one of the things that we look for is just strong letters. So when you are looking for your letter writers, you're going to want to make sure that they can attest to both your academic ability and your character, and they're going to write you a strong letter. We also then review a 1,500 word personal statement, and this should be letting us know why you are interested in a career in public policy, what things in your life led you to this point, what motivates you, drives you to go and do these things, and hopefully what you then want to go and do with the Master of Public Policy post-graduation. Those are the things that we're looking for in your personal statement. Going forward for fall of 2020, we are still accepting applications, so we're reviewing them on a rolling basis. So if you are a graduating senior or you already have graduated and are looking for the next step, you still have time to apply. We do not require any graduate exams. So no GRE, no GMAT, no LSAT. If you've taken those exams and you want to send us your scores, you can, but we do not require it. It is not a major part of our admissions process. So overall, we do a holistic review of all applicants. If you are looking to apply post 2020, so fall of 2021, or spring of 2021, we do have application dates that'll be up on the website because we will review those periodically at different stages throughout the year until we get to this point where it switches over to a rolling basis.
Stephen, what about any type of funding and deadlines as far as that?
So at the moment, all applicants are potentially considered for funding. Going forward, we might change that process a little bit, but at the moment, no. So if you apply to the program, you don't have to complete something separate to be considered for funding. As we admit you and review your application, the admissions committee is the same committee that does funding offers. So we consider everyone who comes through based off of a lot of different factors. And then if we are to offer you funding, you would get a letter from us. Information regarding funding is also on the website, but for most students, our funding offers come out to around a little bit less than $11,000 for the year, which is around half of in-state tuition, about a third of out-of-state tuition.
But again, there are a lot of links on our website and the graduate school website about additional opportunities for funding and aid.
Absolutely. And another thing is if you are admitted into our graduate program and you're a graduate student at Penn State, you also have the ability to apply and look at other types of research or graduate positions all across the university, or even other paid options assisting different departments. So those positions are usually posted, and we do send those out to our students on a regular basis as well, as we are notified of them.
We're getting ready to talk about why applying to Penn State or why coming to Penn State, and we have a question. This person is asking a question that says, during the pandemic, I'm thinking more about applying for the MPP program, so can I still submit an application? And this person only heard that the applications are on a rolling basis. Can you explain a little bit more about that, Stephen?
Yeah, so the application's open. So absolutely, if you're thinking about it, you can still apply. We will be accepting applications most likely through the end of July. Though please don't wait until the end of July to try to get all your materials in.
Well, you'll keep reviewing them though,
yes,
ongoing.
So
that's what that means.
The way that our rolling admissions process works is that as your application is completed, we then are reviewing those on a weekly basis. So whenever your application is finally complete, and that means we have your transcripts, your letters of rec, your personal statement, you should have an admissions decision by us within a week or two at the absolute latest at the moment. So that's how quickly we're reviewing and turning them around from now until the start of fall semester.
So I'm going to add back up this slide about how to apply, since that was the question. So again, you can link to how to apply through our website, publicpolicy.psu.edu, or just go to the gradschool.psu.edu website, and you can find out all of what you need to apply, as far as Stephen just went through all that information as well. But again, feel free to email us and Stephen directly anytime at publicpolicy@psu.edu. Great question though, but again, as Stephen mentioned, we are accepting applications on a rolling basis, and they review those weekly. I know I get those, Catherine and I are in meetings with Stephen, we hear those updates all the time, so that is a great question. So why Penn State? Caitlin, why, we already talked about why you chose the School of Public Policy, but obviously you came here as an undergrad too. What is it that brought you to Penn State? What do you like about Penn State? What keeps you here?
I mean, obviously I love it here because I signed up to be here an extra year. So I think originally, for undergrad, I was really drawn to just the sense of community with all the students, and I wanted to go to a big school because I'm from a small town. So and I also want to get away from here.
You're out of state, right?
Yes, I'm out of state. So I think that was a huge thing. Obviously, the football games are really fun. All that when I was a freshman, I was very excited about. But I think just specifically the Penn State School of Public Policy, I liked, obviously, with it being a new program, and I didn't really know much about many public policy programs, that was really exciting for me because that meant that there would be a lot more one-on-one with professors and really getting to work with the faculty members more closely than maybe a program that's more established. But I love the school. I know that I'm going to get a great education because I've been here for 4 years. I'm almost done with my undergrad, and our criminology department is one of the best in the country. So I wasn't questioning at all that the education that I would get from the Penn State School of Public Policy, because I knew it would be top notch. But I think also it's been nice because it's a new program. There's a smaller cohort of students. And so I've really gotten to know all of them, and that's been really awesome to just become friends with everyone in the program. So yeah, Penn State's great.
Stephen, tell us a little bit about some of the things that you see as far as the benefits of this specific program.
Absolutely. So I think Caitlin touched on a lot of it. I think one of the biggest benefits is that at the moment, being a newer program, we have smaller class sizes and more one-on-one interactions with our students and faculty. As students, you have a lot of access to myself and Catherine for advising and career development. It's very easy to get in touch with both of us. So there's, I think, a lot more one-on-one time, and there's a lot more support that exists in a smaller and newer program than some of the larger, more established ones. I think another thing is that we are, as a large research university, in a school of public policy, we have a lot of access to different faculty and programs across the university that we partner with to offer our students with a lot of options, including, leadership and cutting edge skills in data analytics, which is a massive growing field. And one of the other big things, and I think it's the biggest thing that I talk to prospective students about when they ask me, well, why should I pick Penn State over somewhere else? And my answer always is that because we have the largest and most engaged alumni network in the world. And it's hard to really quantify just how much of an impact that can have for you. So Penn State has alumni chapters in pretty much every city and country across the globe. So whenever you come here and you complete your degree in public policy, wherever you might go from a career standpoint, you will automatically have a network that you can tap into just because you went to Penn State. Plus, on top of that, with not only Catherine's support for careers, we have our own career enrichment network within the College of Liberal Arts that promotes our alums and connections there. And then also Penn State has a centralized career services that helps students and puts on events and things like that. So the amount of networking that you can do just because you have a Penn State degree is immeasurable as far as I'm concerned.
Right. And Catherine, I don't know if there's anything that you want to add to that, because you've certainly worked with a lot of these folks as well.
I mean, I would just like to say you probably won't find a faculty and a team that are more committed and dedicated to making sure that you are successful. And, you know, we love not only being a part of your journey, but also making sure that when you leave us, you know that we're still part of you. And you can always feel free to reach back, you know, and rely on us to help you to make those connections from while you're a student to however long you want to.
Great. Well, we don't want to take up too much time. And again, I see we have another question, so I want to remind everybody to be sure to ask questions in that chat. This question is, can someone take classes across studies, like at another graduate program at Penn State? This is a great question for Stephen, I think.
Yeah, so you can. So there's a couple different options for that. There's ways to do a graduate minor. So if there's something specific that you wanted to look into, but it doesn't necessarily line up with what you want your specialization to be, you could go and complete a graduate minor, and information regarding those is on our website, and each one's a little bit different in terms of what's required, but that is an option. Another option is obviously the specialization electives. So if there's a different department within the university that is offering a lot of classes that kind of line up with where you want your focus to be from a policy standpoint, we will work with you to get into those classes. So an example is the School of International Affairs. We partner with them for students in our program that want to have an international policy focus, and their graduate courses, the majority of them are open to our students to enroll in as part of their specialization electives. Same thing with health policy, and I'm trying to think of some other graduate programs, but I'm blanking at the moment. But the option is absolutely available to anyone who comes into our program.
And that's, again, one of the things that's really great about this program is being able to design your specialization. So it's very flexible. So working with Stephen and folks like Stephen and Catherine and our faculty to help make this into something that will meet your career and your personal goals is what makes this program great and unique. So I think that's something that's worth definitely talking to you guys about one-on-one. And again, be sure to email us at publicpolicy@psu.edu if you have additional questions. Again, you can feel free to ask them. It doesn't look like there are any more in the chat window, but I want to encourage those. You can always ask those questions. Here's the email address. Again, I know I've been putting it out there the whole time. I encourage you also to follow us on social media and check out our website. Our brochure is available to download. We also have some other things that Catherine and I created a virtual guide for interviewing that's available for download. That's recent. That's one of the resources that we're putting together. Some other things that we have up there available, but all of the opportunities that we have for the program have been updated on our website as well. So check that out. But again, I can't stress enough that if you have questions about the program, please reach out to us, because we would love to see you become part of our next cohort along with Caitlin and be next to her in class, hopefully in the fall. So I want to thank everyone for attending, and I really especially want to give a big shout out to our panelists for being with us today. Thank you, Stephen, so much for joining us. And Stephen, is there anything else that you want to add or?
No, make sure to reach out with any questions. We're pretty quick about getting responses out and pretty accessible. So if you think of anything, do not hesitate to reach out. I'm more than happy to set up individualized Zoom or phone calls with anyone who has additional questions or wants additional information or just wants to talk one-on-one about their own personal story and goals and all of that.
And Catherine, thank you so much for joining us as well. We appreciate you taking the afternoon. Thank you.
Yeah, it's my pleasure to be here and having more than 30 years of experience in in policy in some way. Feel free to reach out and chat as well if you want to reach out to me.
And Caitlin, thank you so much for joining us. I know you have a lot coming up with graduation and your internship coming up in just a few weeks, so we appreciate having your perspective as well.
Thank you. No problem.
And thanks to our attendees. We hope you'll be in touch with us, and we hope we'll hear from you soon. Thanks so much for joining us, everybody.